Well, hello again and welcome back to my channel. Now, last week's video was all about the arrival and assembly of my rather magnificent new router sled, and today's video is moving on from that. Firstly, I'm going to show you a couple of modifications I've made since last week, and then the main focus for today's video is looking at trying to improve dust collection whilst the router sled is in use. Now, as you're about to see, my initial idea didn't quite go according to plan, so I'd really appreciate it if you could watch the video and stick around till the end, and then if you have any thoughts, suggestions, then you could leave me some feedback in the comments section, and then give me some ideas on how I can move forward. Right, let me roll the video and you can see my idea and where it didn't quite work out. Before looking at improving dust collection, I decided the timber sides that the bottom rails are attached to needed to be reduced in height. The main issue was the gap between the bottom of the router base and the base of the router sled was 10 centimeters, and that was too big. So I decided to run them through the thicknesser and trim off 3 centimeters. At this point, I'd also like to thank Dean from Woodwork Journey, who recommended I use WD-40 dry PTFE lubricant on the rails, as in addition to lubricating the sled, the dust is less likely to stick to the rails. And he certainly was right. If it wasn't smooth enough before, it's super smooth now. So here was my big idea to improve dust collection on the router sled. Firstly, I needed to remove the router base from the top rails, and in order to do this I had to remove the rail collars. I had purchased a roll of this brush dust cover stuff from Amazon, and a quick tip: if you do use this stuff and want to cut it to size, use a little bit of CA glue on the cut ends to make sure you don't lose any of the bristles. My grand plan was to attach this brush dust cover thing using some of this DIY Dr. Magnetic tape. It comes in 2 rolls that work with each other. I cut the first roll to size and attached it to the side of the polycarbonate router base. I then added the other roll to the back of the dust brushes and attached them to the magnetic tape. As you can see here, I kept 3 sides as one piece, which I later cut into individual pieces. I then attached the final piece of the front face to the polycarbonate base and fitted the last piece of the dust collection brush. I took a step back and thought to myself, what a great job I've done here. So the next stage was to try it out with a test run. Now, I've had this rather large piece of pippy oak that's been hiding behind my workshop door for nearly a year, and it was the perfect candidate to try out for my brand new dust collection on the router sled. So I used some OSB to raise the height of the router sled base, put the oak on top of that, and then fixed it down with shims and hot glue. This is where my grand plan started to fall apart. The magnetic strips were not strong enough and the dust collection brushes simply fell off. I reinforced them with some duct tape on the top, and that seemed to work okay for the front and back brushes, but the side brushes kept falling off, as you can see here in my test run. My next idea was to trim the length of the bristles, and as you can see here, I didn't do a very good job. But even with the bristle length cut by approximately half, they still kept falling off. It's at this point I'd actually like to pay credit to the dust collection on the Trend T14 router itself. As you can see on this passer made with no dust collection brushes attached at all, the mess around the outside of the slab was not as bad as what I was expecting. I can't comment on the air quality in the workshop because the air monitor I recently bought had to be returned due to being faulty. I did, however, have my air scrubber on and face mask on at all times. Right folks, I think the idea in principle was pretty sound to use the magnetic tape. Unfortunately, it's not strong enough to hold the brushes in place. Now, here's the caveat. These brushes need to be removable. I simply can't glue them to the side of the polycarbonate. The reason being, if I need to remove the router base plate off the rails, I can't do that if these are permanently fixed on. So these need to be a removable object. So this is my appeal to the hive mind. What are your thoughts, ideas, suggestions on how I can further improve the dust collection here? And as I said in the video, I have to say the Trend router does a pretty good job of actually sucking up the dust and the chippings and stuff It's nowhere near as bad as what I thought it was going to be, but I know there's room for improvement. I know it could be better. So that's my appeal to you. I need your advice, I need your help. Any thoughts, suggestions, feedback, as ever, will be greatly welcome either in the comment section or via the social media. Okay, I think that's it for this one, folks. So as ever, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.